And one day I got angry enough to say, you know what?
And I kind of want the people who aren't familiar with who you are to know your story. So can we get a little background check on you?
Well, I'm 57 years old. I was in the military. I worked in the school system for a little while. I was also a union steward with the Teamsters, so that's a little bit of my background. For anybody who actually watches any of my videos and wonders where my ability to deal with an adversarial relationship comes from. And then, like most people, I found myself involved with the criminal justice system and child support. And what happened was, not that I had to become incarcerated or what have you, but first it was child support, the standard stuff. I didn't know anything, so I, for the most part, was in the full compliance mode. And one day I got angry enough to say, you know what, F this, I'm gonna figure this out. And I was being badgered by one of the child support workers or whatever they are inside the inside the courthouse, inside the administrative meeting rooms. And one day I said to the lady, you know, B, I'm finna figure this out. She asked me, who am I talking to? I'm talking to you. And so I just started on the path of doing this. And I'll be candid and say, I started with the child support and was working with it and doing my own thing. And I eventually got success because I ran into a guy at a poetry event. And for Black on Black Rhyme, shout out to Black on Black Rhyme Tampa at the time. And he made the statement, you don't have to pay taxes and I can show you. Well, when he said I can show you, the first thing I thought about is, well, I don't have tax issues, but I have another issue. And when he started talking about some of the language that I came to learn is not going to benefit me in court, it got me started on the path nonetheless. And from there, about 2 years after hearing him make that statement and me attacking the child support process from the legal aspect, meaning spending hours upon hours at the time in the law library before I got, the sophisticated stuff that I have now. And from there, I started going into the courtrooms, into the courtroom and challenging the child support as it was. And as and anybody who wants to see, if they get access to the Dropbox, you can see my dockets and everything that show how my cases were dismissed. And actually, because of my child support experience, when I was having issues with driving without license, and I have like 12 or 13, 14 of them, and I don't recommend anybody do that. But I have quite a few of those, and I end up winning those cases because I knew how to focus on what the actual issue was. And then unfortunately, I was charged with perjury in an official proceeding because I'd acquired over $1 million worth of properties through a HOA foreclosure sale. Somebody I know bought the properties through a HOA. He bid on the properties, paid the money, found out about what was going on. And what happened was he came to me one day and said, Greg, I think I made a mistake. I said, what was the mistake? And he said, I bought these properties and now the banks want the properties and I don't know what to do. I'm just going to give the properties back to the bank. And when I was looking at them, I'm saying, these are legitimate transactions. The clerk sold the property. You were the high bidder. You paid cash for the properties. It's a bona fide sale. And by this time I had a little bit more insight on the law. And he's like, well, Greg, I just can't do it. I'm just going to give the properties back. And I'm like, whoa, we're not doing that. I'll help you fight it. He didn't want to fight it. So he essentially just sold me the properties through a quitclaim deed. The clerk verified the sales and then the properties became mine. I started to fight the situation inside the court. And the next thing you know, I get charged with perjury in an official proceeding because one of the sitting judges called the mayor's bodyguard to have the mayor's bodyguard charge me, which is, we know that's a little bit strange.
Yeah, that sounds strange.
Yeah. But ultimately what happened was I fought the case self-represented and ended up disqualifying 4 judges. And eventually the Florida Supreme Court sent the judge in from the district outside of this district. And I ended up having that case dismissed in my favor. And I ended up suing for malicious prosecution and some other things. This middle district court here in Florida dismissed it. I've appealed it, and I'm actually actively involved in the appellate process of the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in Atlanta.